Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. Today's crochet project tutorial is extra special to me because it's a blast from my past. We are going to take a traditional holiday decor item and add a little bit of a twist to it. Today's crochet project is going to be the Holiday Advent Wreath. Let me explain. This was such an exciting holiday decor item when I was a kid. In fact, it left quite an impression on me, and you know me, I'm all about making memories, and this project was one that I really wanted to share with all of you. I have here two examples of the Holiday Advent Wreath. One is completely filled in, the Halloween one, and the other one not quite yet. The whole idea behind the Holiday Advent Wreath is that you have a number of candies on the front, and the number of candies will depend on how many days it takes leading up to the special occasion that you are leading up to. So for the Halloween, which here, let me show you the back so you can get a better idea of the Halloween colors and how I designed mine. So on my Halloween version, I have 31 candies tied to the front and then a little loop so you can hang it on a wall. On my Christmas version, I have 25 ties. So that gives you an idea of how many ties that you may need to cut or attach to your wreath leading up to whatever holiday or birthday or anniversary or special occasion that you have coming up. Now, the idea is, again, you'll remove one candy per day all the way up to the holiday. Now, I have two kids, so I'm gonna need your help. Which would be easier, attaching 31 more candies to the front of this or just making a whole other holiday wreath? What would you do? Let me know in the comments below. So in this tutorial, I'm actually going to make a wreath with a neutral color, and my hope is that you will just be able to follow along with how I do what I do for my wreath, and you'll be able to swap out the colors for whichever colors come to your mind and use your own creative energy and have so much fun with your project. And feel free to utilize your own stash, your own yarn stash. That way you can just kind of have fun with whatever colors you have on hand. If there are specific colors that you want for whatever you're celebrating, then feel free to go to the store and I will definitely help you to figure out what yarn you're going to want to go towards to make this wreath using the same dimensions that I have going on. My brother and sister and I loved this wreath so much growing up, and I really hope you like it too. All right, so before we get started talking about the materials, if you could take a second and like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already so you don't miss my upcoming videos, and share this video with a friend that you think might really like this project. That would be awesome, and thank you so very much. All right, crochet by the numbers. This crochet project, from very beginning to finishing off the very last tie, took me approximately 3.5 hours to complete. The amount of yarn that I used for the entire project was approximately 245 yards of yarn. Now I say approximately because of tension or because of how many strips that you're choosing to cut out yourself. So having that approximate range is probably going to keep you in a very safe spot. When it comes to the cost of how much this wreath cost me to make, that's also going to vary. Mine cost approximately $22.97 or 23 bucks. But the reason why that varies is the cost of the candy, or if you want to add toys, or if you're a puppy mom and you want to add dog treats instead, or if you're a kitty mom or dad and you want to add kitty treats, or just whatever item that you want to place around. The candy that I bought was a Halloween version bag, and it was $11.99. So that was incorporated in that $22.97 that I mentioned. Also, if you are using yarn from your own stash, then you don't have to worry about the cost of yarn either. The only real set price that I had for this wreath was the $4.99 for the foam ring that went on the inside. All right, let's talk about materials that I used for the Holiday Advent Wreath. The yarn that I used was Caron Simply Soft yarn. I have off-white here and pistachio. These are the two colors that I'm going to be using for today's demonstration. For the colors that I used on the Christmas wreath, and the Halloween wreath. I have those exact colors labeled in the pattern, and I will add them in the description section below this video for you for a quick access to the exact yarn that I used for this project. Now, I do want to emphasize the yarn that I used is a size 4 weight yarn with a WPI of 13. Now, the reason why this is super important is because I did try to make this with Michael's Loops and Threads Impeccable yarn, which is also labeled as a size 4, but when I went about making it, it ended up being way too big. And then I did the WPI on the Michael's Impeccable yarn, and it was a WPI of 11, which means that the Caron Simply Soft yarn was actually thinner than the Impeccable yarn, even though they are both labeled as A4. So when you are working up your sample, either choose Caron Simply Soft or from Hobby Lobby, their Soft Secret. It's basically the exact same yarn with the same WPI. All right, so just want to give you a heads up with that. If you do want to just dive into this project, I will show you how you can make adjustments to the number of rows that we make, so that way you can just use whatever size 4 weight yarn you might have in your yarn stash. The foam ring that I'm looking at right here is I think the measurements were 1.7 inches thick or wide for this part right here, and then it is 11.7 inches in diameter from full side to full side. This one's a little offset, but you know, nothing's ever perfect. We're gonna be just fine. The crochet hook that I'm using is an F5 or 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. Also want a pair of embroidery scissors because we will be doing a lot of color changes, so that's going to come in handy. The yarn needle or tapestry needle will also come in handy when we are joining things together, and a tape measure. Go ahead and gather all of your materials, and again, I will have links to everything that you see here in the description section below for extra help if you would like to just click on that link, purchase the item, and have it shipped directly to you out of ease and convenience. But other than that, dive into your stash, grab your crochet hook, and let's get started making this Holiday Advent Wreath. Start by grabbing the color that you want to use for the very beginning. We will be making 2 different sized sections here. We will be making big sections and small sections. The first color we are going to begin with, we are making a larger section. So starting with about a 5 to 6 inch tail before you create your slip knot, attach your crochet hook, and then chain 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, 26. Great. For row 1, we will make 1 single crochet stitch in the second chain from our crochet hook, right here, and then make 1 single crochet in each chain all the way across. We should end row 1 with a total of 25 single crochet stitches. 24, and last stitch here, 25. Great. For row 2, we will start by chaining 1 and then turning our work. For row 2, we will make a single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch all the way across. You should end row 2 with a total of 25 stitches. Now, if you'd like a little extra help knowing how to make those single crochet in the back loop only, we will find the stitch, so stitch number 1. We will turn it so that way we're looking at the top and we see all those beautiful V's at the top. Take your crochet hook and insert it into the middle of that V, and then just go underneath that back loop only. Single crochet in the back loop only. So yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through both. Next stitch, look at the top, find that V, go underneath the back loop only, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through. Perfect, I think you got it. We'll see you at the end of row 2. 24 and 25. Fabulous. So now when we look at our rows, they have that peak to them which looks really, really cool. And we want this because we want to have that front loop exposed, so that way we have something to attach our strings to. For row 3, we will start by chaining 1 and then turning our work. For row 3 and for every odd number row, we are making a regular single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way across. It is the odd number rows that we will make the single crochet in the back loop only. This is intentional because it'll help us to stay on track as we work forward in the process. 24, 25. You might be asking, why do you keep counting, Tiffany? It just keeps me on track. It's just always something very good to practice as you are working up your project, every now and then counting to make sure you're staying on track. All right, so for row 4, we're just repeating what we did for row 2 by chaining 1, turning our work, and again we will make a single crochet in the back loop only. Looking at the top, finding the V's, back loop only, single crochet. For row 4 through the end of row 18, just repeat rows 2 and row 3. Single crochet back loop only for every even number row, and regular single crochet in each stitch across for the odd number row. Continue on, and I will meet you at the end of row 18 for us to do a color change. Finishing up row 18 here, when we finally finish, we're going to grab our scissors. So there we go. Setting it down, grabbing my scissors, and I want to cut about an 8-inch long tail here. And we're using approximations. You just want to have a really decent length tail and then cut. Now, Tiffany, why are we having such a long tail? We started with such a long tail. Go ahead and yarn over. Pull that tail through the loop on our crochet hook for a tie off. So when we go to actually join around the wreath, we're going to use these long tails to help us to join these closed around the wreath. We actually do not weave in any of our ends, which is like, yes, we're not weaving in any ends. These tails are going to be utilized to help us to join these two sides together around our foam ring. So that's why it's important to have them extra long. Now, when it comes to color 2 that we are going to switch to, the second color is going to be this small, I call it the break color. Every time we color change, we should be looking at the wrong side of the work or the back of the work. And the back or wrong side will look like just regular single crochet stitches. If you're looking at the bumpy side of the work, that is the front side, that is the right side. We always want to color change on the wrong side. It just really helps us to stay on track. And it makes it a lot easier to attach everything. Because this small side, or the small section is so small, we can start with a tail that's about 3 inches long. We don't need a lot of extra tail for us to join this smaller section together. Slip stitch into the very first stitch space so we can attach the yarn to our project. Slip stitch, chain 1, and then we are working on the wrong side or the back, so just make 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way across. Great. Next row, chain 1, turning our work. All of these are single crochet in the back loop only. The small section that we are making here is only 4 rows. So that was row 1. Now we're working row 2, single crochet back loop only. Go ahead and finish this row and then work 2 more rows beyond this for a total of 4 rows with this second color, and I will meet up with you then to give you a lowdown on how this pattern will go moving forward. 24, 25. Great. Just finished my 4 rows of my smaller section here. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors. Again, I don't need a really long tail for this smaller section. and then tie off the work, yarn over, pull through, and tie. Turn, so we're looking at the wrong side or the back. Grab, if you want a different color, we are now making another big section, starting with the long tail again, so about 8 inches or so approximately. Again, because we're looking at the back of the work, we are working underneath both loops for a regular single crochet stitch. Slip stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in each stitch all the way across. Now I think you have the pattern that we are working with, where if we're looking at the back of the work, we're just making a regular single crochet. If we're working on the front of the work, we are making a single crochet in the back loop only. Now when it comes to these sections, the bigger sections have 18 rows in them. So you can choose to count these bumps here and be like, okay, 2. Each bump is 2 rows. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18 rows for the big sections, 4 rows for the small sections, over and over and over again. We're going to keep doing this for a total of 8 sections of the big, 8 sections of the small. We will end with a total of 177 rows altogether. So you have a choice. You can either take 177 rows and make all one color, or you can take that number and divide it up however many ways you want to have whatever color combination you want. But for me, what I figured, 8 sections of big, 8 sections of small, and that made what I needed to fit around this ring. Now, remember in the beginning when I started talking about WPI, let me set this off to the side for a second. I used this other yarn that was a size 4 weight yarn also, but it had a little bit thicker yarn. It had the size 11 WPI, and I was able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 large sections, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small sections, and this was able to fit around my whole ring perfectly. I was able to take out a whole large section and a whole small section because it was too big, it was too much. This is also working with 18 rows in the big section and 4 rows in the small section. So if you are wanting to use a yarn in your yarn stash, definitely check your WPI. I'll put a link in the description section below on the really short little video that I did explaining what WPI even is and how you can figure that out. It is amazing. I hope you check that out. But if you're running into a situation where your yarn is a little bit thicker than what I used over here, definitely also gauge off of your ring. So let me grab the ring. And when you're gauging, you're going to take your section and you're going to run it along the edges, and you're going to try to get these two to match up. So if you can get these two to match up and it's gone all the way around the ring, that's all that you need. As soon as you hit that, then you can stop and you're good. I will meet you at the very end to show you how we will go ahead and wrap join this long section around our foam circle. Great. So now that we have made our whole long form that we are going to wrap around our ring, grab your yarn needle or tapestry needle, whatever you're going to work with, and pick a side, any side. Which side do we want to start with? I'll go ahead and start with this side. Find the first string you run into, so that would be the string right here for me, and thread that through your yarn needle, taking our piece, wrap it around. I want to take the section where my yarn needle is attached. So it's on this corner that it is attached. I want to find the next corner, and I'm going to go ahead and go from the outside in and join. Then I'm going to come to the next row, go from the inside out, next row, inside out. Now this should be a 1-to-1 stitch ratio, because if we are working the exact same number of rows, it's the same row that we are just joining together on both sides. But it can be messy if you want. It's not a big deal, because we are going to literally just stay within sections. We're not going beyond sections. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the really long tail that is on the other side of this section. This is kind of our safety tail if we ran out of yarn and we needed backup yarn to help us close this section. Pretty great, right? So again, taking our yarn needle, coming from the front to the inside to close, and we want these colors to be aligned with each other. It makes it really pretty and very clean. Then again, inside, out, inside, out. When this section is all closed, go ahead and tie off, again holding some yarn back, inserting crochet hook through, or yarn needle through, sorry. Taking this section, twisting it so it makes that X shape, go underneath, and pull. And then you can just take your yarn needle, insert into the work, slide it, grab, and pull it in. And done. That's it. We don't have to fuss with it. Don't have to worry about it. Just tuck all those tails on the inside. Nothing to weave in. Now go ahead and grab the second color. We really want to keep color to color. It will be an awful sore thumb if you just take the same color and work it through everything. It'll look awful. So try to tie off and drop colors so that way everything can look real clean. Go ahead, guys, take a second and continue to join, and I will meet up with you when we've joined all the way around and we're ready to join these two sections close together and move forward. You are doing such an awesome job. I hope you're having fun, and I hope that your wreath looks amazing. Fabulous. We have made it all the way around, and now I'm going to join these two together. Line up the two joints so it's all staying in sync with each other. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the inside out on one side, and then come from the inside out on the other side. And then just repeat this all the way around. Next step, we're going to make the loop so that way we can hang this wreath on a wall. I only need a short tail. I don't need anything crazy, but we will be pulling the tails to the inside of the work, so nothing too short, so that way we can actually pull a decent amount of tail on the inside and it'll stay secure. Insert your crochet hook somewhere in this section. Go on the in and out, just like that, around that stitch, and slip stitch. Move this tail. That's it. Now chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 19, 20. And then take your crochet hook and in the exact same stitch, go under, through, just like we did for that first slip stitch. Yarn over and slip stitch, just like that. Take your scissors, cut a tail, tie off by yarning over the tail, pulling through the loop on your crochet hook. I'm going to tie a knot here. And what that'll do is it'll keep that loop going in that direction. One more knot. And then pull those tails inside the work. The last step that we have to finish off this wreath is just making the strips that we will cut out. I like to cut my strips around 7 inches long. That way they are actually long enough to tie a knot and secure them onto the wreath and have enough tail to wrap around something and secure it to the wreath itself. Cut however many strips that you need for whatever occasion that you are counting down. And then to attach this strip to the wreath, that's why we have the ridges, because it makes it super easy for us to insert our crochet hook into the left behind loop of that back loop only. So this would be the front loop that got left untouched. It's super easy to insert our crochet hook right into that spot. Take our strip, fold it in half, so align the two edges, fold it in half, grab the loop with our hook, pull the loop underneath the stitch, so that way only half of it is underneath, and then take the two tails and pull them through the loop, and that creates a little drawstring. And then that knot is secure. Now, what you will find is after you have attached candies to your wreath with a knot, it might be something where when you remove the candy, you can't take that knot out of the string. Not to worry, these strings are super easy. So for example, if I were to just kind of take this out, if I needed to replace this, just take your scissors and cut this string off, unknot it, just removing that yarn, and you are left with your clean slate. Just cut a new strip, reattach new strip, and have something fresh for the next year. So, what did you think of my Holiday Advent Wreath? I hope you had so much fun making it your own. If you would like more holiday crochet project ideas, definitely check out my crochet holiday playlist that I have here on my YouTube channel. Let's just keep crocheting together, making memories. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, guys. I hope you have the best day, and I will see you with the next one. Bye.